Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I want to start off with a bit of background here, and I like to ask people this at the beginning of interviews because it's revealing, and you can answer. There's no right way to answer the question, but who is Max Zavidow?
I'm a silly guy. I think like that's like growing up, that's like all I wanted to be, and that's all I ever was just like a silly guy, and it was always like so important to me to see if I could find a way to do that professionally. I feel like comedian didn't really capture what I wanted to be. I just want to be a silly guy. Silly guy.
Okay. So if you're not a comedian, but you are a silly guy, how would you sort of classify yourself professionally? Are you actor, writer, comedian, some mixture of everything? No labels?
Yeah. I think comedian is the closest like thing if I had to put something down on my taxes, you know, like what do I do? But I think professional silly guy is like what I am. Because I just want to get paid to do the things that I think are funny and silly and do them with my friends and yeah.
Cool. Cool. Well, you know, I think a lot of them are pretty funny as well.
Thank you.
And how did you get mixed up with all this stuff? So you're from Jersey.
Grew up in Jersey, yeah.
But then there was a West Coast contingent.
Yes. Yeah, I went to college in LA.
There was a banking thing.
Yeah.
Walk us through the cliff notes here. Where are you from? You know.
Yeah, so
how'd you get to be a silly guy?
Grew up in Jersey. And when I was growing up, I had a deep desire for attention because when I was in middle school, my dad was actually in prison and my mom was in the hospital. So there was like no one at home for me to like get my attention from. So I went out into the world. I went to my classes and I would just be a menace. And then my mom actually put me in like a stand-up comedy camp when I was in 8th grade because she was like, you got to do something with this. Like you're too much, like just go. So I did that. But I never really thought that it would be possible for me to be like a comedian in you know, a professional silly guy.
Yeah.
Because of all the things I went through growing up, I was like, all right, well, just go get a job, go do your thing, like, and just like have like a normal life. And then when I was in college, I was getting ready to do investment banking. I had done like all my internships. I had worked at like Rothschild. I was going to be working at Bank of America after graduation. And I was stoked for it. Worked very hard for it. But there was always like this little piece of my heart that was like, but you love comedy. Like I would spend all my time watching stand-up, like going to the clubs around Los Angeles. That's like what I did. And so my senior year, I took a class at USC for stand-up and like started doing stand-up beyond the class. Like I would go around LA. Like I didn't even have a car. I would like metro around the city. And LA not being a very metro-friendly city, I'd sit on the metro for like 2 hours to get to an open mic, come back and do it a few times a week. Then COVID hit, and I had really only been doing stand-up like seriously for like 2 months. COVID hit. I was like, all right, well, you know, that's it. You know, you were gonna do this your senior year, but senior year is done. Now go and be an adult.
Yeah. Whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means. And I was being an adult for about a year, and then I went.
This is in New York or in California?
This is in New York now. Yeah. I came to New York after I graduated USC, and it was my first vacation from investment banking. I had been working so hard and I just wanted to go to California and try mushrooms with my friends for the first time.
Yeah, right.
And so we
you go to what's that tree that everyone goes?
Joshua Tree? Yeah. No, we went up north. Joshua Tree I believe is more south. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, not that it really matters. But I go out there and my friend is like talking to me while we're on our little mushy trip.
Yeah.
And he was talking to me about autonomy. And I was like, what's autonomy?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, like, you know, it's just like the control that you have over your own life. And I was like, and in that moment, like something snapped in my mind and I was like, wait, you can just like do what you want at any given moment.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do anything. And I realized how much of my life had been oriented around like, the idea of like what I should be doing and not what I wanted to be doing. And then I was like, okay, like what do I want to do? And I didn't necessarily know what that meant, but I came back from New York. My roommate, who is the most amazing man I've ever met, Jack Tenney, an all-star of a human being, he said to me, he was like, I feel like you're wasting your razzle-dazzle in investment banking. And I was like,
did he use the word razzle-dazzle?
He said razzle-dazzle.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, I didn't, you know, because you always think that you're special, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe not everybody does, but I always thought like I was silly and like that I was like really that I was silly. And when he said it and he was like, I see it too, I was like,
maybe if he sees it.
Then maybe other people will see it too. And so I started doing like open mics around the city. I would like dip out of work, like, you know, like a little early, like be like, and then go do comedy. And then I ended up finding a different job, and I had a bunch of different jobs lined up to do after investment banking. And every single one of them, I told them, I was like, hey, I will do this job for you from 9 to 5. But at 5 every day, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go do stand-up.
Yeah.
So the only job that said okay to that was the NBA. So I worked in basketball for about a year, and
Sick.
it was really fun. It was the best day job I could have had.
Were you playing? Were you a point
No, I'm not a
guard?
point
Is
guard.
that it?
I'm okay at basketball. I don't know if you've seen those videos where I sometimes I slice people up.
I saw one of you, like you tossed a ball to this.
Oh
kid.
yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. He's like, "Can you throw it back?" And
Yeah, that was. Yeah. Anyway, so you worked for the NBA.
So worked for the NBA, and it was at the NBA. I always had this hypothesis. I was like, you can't make it as a comedian in today's day and age without a big social presence.
Okay.
So in conjunction, I was doing stand up 12 times a week, and then I was also making videos.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
there's not 12 days in a week.
Yeah, I would do like 2 mics or a couple shows a week. And then I was also making my videos on the side. And then I met this one guy, Jack Reichert. Okay. And this dude was the most talented comedian I'd ever seen. He was the smartest man I'd ever seen. And I was lucky enough to get to work with him. And he really kind of changed my perception of what comedy is, and the things that you can press on to really get the funniest things out of yourself and make other people laugh. And
what to talk about this?
Yeah. So when I first saw him, it was an open mic, and it was a 3-hour mic. So it started at 9, went to 12. It was 11:30. Nobody had laughed for 2.5 hours. Like everybody was just bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb. And he gets up.
Notoriously tough crowds in the open mic.
Yeah, horrible. So now it's 11:30, and he gets up and he reaches into his backpack and he pulls out the SeaWorld financial statements, and he starts calculating the price of a whale based on depreciation. And it's just tearing apart the room, and I'd never seen anything like that. And my cousin came with me to that open mic. And I swear to God, it was like the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
All right, so autonomy. You're in the fields, and your boy is like, "Yo, we can just do whatever the fuck we want." And then
he had long known that. It was a revelation for me. But dude, you know what's interesting about that? Do you guys know what an ego death is?
No, it's like a Buddhist thing, right? Or I don't know. It's meditation. What's
so
ego death?
An ego death is like when you take a psychedelic, and basically you realize that your body and like your ego, like it's your body is just like a vessel floating through space, and it really is so meaningless, and like everything's meaningless and nothing really matters. And it basically is like the death of your ego. And it happens when you take psychedelics. And it was literally the first time I'd ever taken psychedelics. And when I came down from the trip, I told my friends, I was like, you guys, I just had an ego death.
How did you have that language even? You Googled it?
I had known what it was. Oh. Like someone had said the word to me before, but I was like, I just had an ego death. And my friend looked at me and was like, Max, for the last 4 hours, all you did was talk about yourself. Your ego's fine. Like it's you're chilling. Don't worry about that. But yeah, had just kind of like came back like an understanding of like what I wanted. And actually, so I had that understanding, but maybe I wasn't bold enough to act on it, or I wouldn't have been bold enough to act on it. But my roommate sat me down when I got back from the vacation. He was like, Max, I need to tell you something. You are wasting your razzle dazzle in investment banking.
Fuck.
And so I quit my job. I mean, it took me like 6 months to find the job. I'm not someone that's just gonna like do something without thinking about it or like figuring out what the next step is. So yeah, did that, and then while I was at the NBA, sorry.
All good, brother.
While I was at the NBA, started making videos. I would say by the end of April, I had like 50,000 followers, and I was like, okay, if by the end of the year I have 300,000 followers. That's my sign.
You just pick, why not 250?
I have no fucking clue.
Yeah,
I was just
whatever.
like, I have 300,000.
Okay, yeah.
That just seemed like
it's a good goalpost. Yeah,
anyway.
Seemed
like a number that was so big that it was like, if I'm able to reach that, like, this is your sign that you're funny enough to just go rip it, And I ended up hitting that number in like July.
Fuck yeah, man.
Or August of that year.
Good.
Thank you. And I was like, okay, you made this promise to yourself. Like, I wanted to finish out my contract at the NBA.
Were you playing on a team?
I was a cheerleader.
Okay.
And I wanted to finish out my contract, and I was working in strategy at the 2K League. And
sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wanted to finish out my contract, finished it out, and then jumped into comedy, and I've been doing that ever since.
Good.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's so much here. I think like one thing I talk about and think about a lot is the route away from investment banking, because everyone I went to school with, well, that's not even true statistically. In the circles in which I ran, it seemed like everyone was going to investment banking, consulting, management consulting, or tech, you know. That was the thing to do. And as far as and there's like good reason to do it for security and
learning.
whatever. Yeah, learning, like paying off student loans, you know, optionality. What I found among these people who do investment banking and go to fancy colleges and they do investment banking is that a lot of them really don't like it.
No.
Some of them do. There's some people who are hardos.
I've met one person that actually enjoys it. I think even a lot of the hardos hate it. I've literally met one person that enjoys it.
But they stick with it, and then it's this like treadmill of you grab the next thing, which is a private equity job, and the next thing.
Yeah, you
and
go
then
get
all
your
of a
MBA,
sudden
then you come back, and
you've spent 10, 15, 20 years doing some shit that you hate. And people derive meaning outside of work.
Yes.
In Australia, for example, I didn't know what a lot of my friends did for work. That, you know, it wasn't really, you know, vaguely, oh, maybe she works in marketing, maybe he's a lawyer, I think. But it's like here, before you ask someone's fucking name, you know, what do you do for work, or who are you with, or, you know, whatever. I think part of it has to do with part of it's a cultural thing.
Definitely.
The Europeans, you know, they certain countries more than others, but like they'll take an hour or more for lunch. They'll have their lunch. They'll stop work at a certain hour. Dude, I found this to be so crazy because I, you know, send emails whenever.
Yeah, all hours of the day.
This guy had a fucking thing on his email in Australia that said, "I work irregular hours. If you receive this outside of Australian working hours, don't feel the need to respond. That's okay." And I was like, what are you, from Wisconsin? Like,
what are you, a cheesehead?
Yeah. Oh no, there was a guy from Wisconsin last night.
Where were you last night?
Excellent question.
And some context.
Some combination of I think East Williamsburg and then Bushwick. Yeah, that's it. There was a guy from Wisconsin, and I made a joke about cheese. And then I actually got quite hungry because I hadn't eaten.
Yeah. All I had today was a small spinach tomato feta.
I could use a snack. You're looking all right.
Yeah. Thank you. I do what I can. I think it's the haircut.
No. So no, but I think the investment banking thing is important because a lot of, you know, the young, smart, well-educated kids in New York, fucking labored to get into these colleges, the top schools in America. It just seems like kind of a waste to me. And I don't there are good reasons to do it. I'm not one to judge. And I almost did do it until, you know, I went to Australia. I stayed. People are, the listeners anyway, are familiar with this story. But I think it's cool that you left. And I don't know, you know, we're never more than one or two decisions away from like totally different life. There is a world in which you are still there with Blake.
And I'd be sad.
But that world is very real, and it's not that hard to imagine.
Yeah, it was like,
right?
literally, like, had I decided to just I was like,
no,
be
a good soldier it, and like stop bitching and just grind it out, right?
Yeah,
I mean that's the attitude.
I could still be there. Oh god, that would suck, dude. My days rock. My days rock. I just write and I'm silly, and like I couldn't ask for a better life, you know.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
No, like not in a sarcastic way.
I know. I'm
truly like fucking happy you found your dharma.
Yeah, I used to spend all day doing stuff that I didn't want to do.
Yeah,
because I felt like it was what I should do. And should does not exist.
Yeah.
I think should exists if you have children. That's where I think should exists.
I might. No, I'm kidding. I don't.
But to me, but like when you're our age, and really like you have
you should be selfish.
Yeah, you have no responsibilities to anyone but yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be a good friend and like son and brother,
but even that is like you can choose to do that. I don't think selfish like go actively wreak havoc on other people's lives, but like
spend your time how you want to spend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And find a way to sustain yourself while doing it, because I was down to I would have worked at the NBA for 30 years if it meant like that's what it took to keep doing comedy. It's just like it worked out sooner than I thought it would. So
that's also cool. And it doesn't for everybody. I mean,
yes, and that was my mentality. I was like, listen, like you don't know how long it's going to take. Strap in, baby, or
strap on.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit, about the different kinds of comedians that exist. You mentioned earlier that you can't be a comedian in this day and age without the online.
You can.
Stuff.
I just don't think you'll be a very successful one.
Well, I guess it depends on your metrics of success, but talk about this.
Conventional.
Financial. Okay. Yeah. That's
conventional.
Oh, conventional.
Like, because like it's probably like harder to get spots on like these big stages, like at festivals and stuff, or get your Netflix opportunities. Like if people aren't like following you, if people don't, but like a lot of people can prove that out.
People gotta know about you.
What?
Like people have to just know.
Yeah.
Like that you're there.
But, I think a lot of people can get that through stand up. Like a lot of people will just clip up their stand up shows and post them online, and that helps them grow. But that just was not how I was going to do it. It just wasn't how I ended up doing it.
Oh, they'll clip up the live stand up.
Exactly. As opposed to like making sketches or just like vlogging or some shit,
Is there a distinct, like, I was here in this apartment once. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he said he's a comedian, but only on TikTok. He doesn't do stand up. So there are creators who
Sebastian.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Perhaps, yeah.
Good. Nice hair.
Yeah, big hair.
There are people. I think does Ami? No, Ami does stand up. Yeah, he does. He does do stand up. I've seen videos of him doing it. But I've seen videos of him doing it. There you go. Did I ever introduce you to Ami? Maybe.
I think maybe
there's a text. Yeah, I don't know. He's a good guy. Also Jewish.
Yeah.
Not that that's at all relevant. But no, Ami's a really nice guy. There are people who don't like do the clubs. They just do it online, right?
Well, not stand up. Stand up, you got to be in clubs or just like touring or something. Like you can't do stand up to no one. That's an important part of stand up is, you're speaking to someone.
So are these two different classes or categories of comedians? Like some are
stand up, some are content creators, some are just writers, some are actors. There's a lot of different ways to be a comedian. And like my goal in life was never to be like a specific kind of comedian. It was just to be like a professional, silly person. So
sick.
Yeah.
We should make a clip of that. Yeah, no, I mean, what about the subject matter, the content itself? Like when you're doing a stand-up set versus making a sketch, the jokes, it's the format itself is different.
Yeah, the format itself is different, which definitely influences some of the jokes. But I think a lot of the jokes that I make online in like sketches could translate to
in some other, but there could be a version of them.
Yeah, that exists. That's stand-up. But yeah.
Why is it? I maybe don't watch enough comedy, but when you deliver the same set repeatedly, right?
A lot, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but if you give the same set again, then people can't come twice, or they can.
I mean, so a lot of people might feel that way, but like, because I've heard people go to shows.
Asking.
Yeah, I've heard people go to shows and they're like, I saw this person again. I really liked him the first time, but he just did the same jokes again. And it's like, you wouldn't go to a concert and be upset that like Taylor Swift played songs that she's already written. It's like, that's how it works. Like it takes a long time to write these jokes.
Yeah.
And just because you happen to see them in back-to-back weeks doesn't mean that they're a bad comedian. It means that they're probably a good comedian because they're working on their material. The way I think about it is like people, like I love hearing a joke that I love more than once because to me, it's like, it's hearing a song that I love again, and you're not going to hear a song you love for the first time, but there's meaning in seeing something or feeling something over, and like how your relationship to the jokes or the songs change is really interesting. And
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's sort of like someone asked me, they asked about like writing, because I'm a writer. And I said, and like, when you write a book and if people don't like it, that did happen to me. I got piled on when the book event, it dipped first. Among other reasons, my commentary of Princeton was considered by some to be inflammatory.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did you say? I have a copy, but I actually don't read.
That's fine. A lot of the investment banking stuff, everyone's
You like piled on them.
Yeah. No, I basically said like it's a big liars club where the students, in order to get into Princeton, lie about
what they want to do.
Well, yeah, they lie about their commitments to social justice, basically, or like all this exaggerated commitments to social justice in order to get in. And the university in turn says, we're going to produce entrepreneurs and mavericks and world changers, when in reality, they produce people. 35% of the class goes right off the factory line into investment, or no, most of the class actually. I think Bill Dershowitz was on the podcast talking about this. 35% or I don't know. I wrote an article for Quillette. I have to relook at the statistics, but in the statistics I was using for, I think 2020 or 2021, it was or 2019, maybe pre-pandemic, I controlled for that. It was like 35 goes into investment banking, consulting, and tech, and the rest go into law or medicine. And then like a few people work at nonprofits and stuff. But the idea is that the school says we're going to produce the next class of world-changing mavericks and this.
But they do, I think.
The motto of Princeton is "in the nation's service." Actually, the Woodrow Wilson School got sued because it's a public policy school, and then like the vast majority of the graduates did not go on to work in public policy.
I know, but I think with any institution, a lot of like, to be a maverick means to like break off from the norm, and I think like on average there are probably more students at Princeton that break off and change the world than there are at many other institutions. It's just, because you're in it, you see so many of the investment, and you're of course. But I mean, like, a school can't produce exclusively mavericks, No, but
you
can't have a school of Dirk Nowitzki's.
That's kind of the promise.
No, it's the promise, but it's like
I think it's not going to be everyone. Yeah. It's also, investment banking is not the norm. Like most of the country doesn't do that. That's an elite thing. Anyway, so the careerism from day one, I objected to. I objected to the rampant leftism on campus, and I didn't think there was enough conservative professors. I'm not even that conservative, but I thought there should have been more of a mixture, and I thought leftist orthodoxy had infiltrated the institution in a way that was contrarian to Enlightenment ideals. The Enlightenment ideals for which a university is supposed to stand, namely free speech, free thought, debate, this kind of stuff. I objected to, those were really the main big ones. Anyway, whatever. I published this, straight white guy criticizing Princeton. It was in the New York Post. And then, a lot of my classmates weren't happy about my characterizations of Princeton, which some people felt were unfair. Whatever, that's totally irrelevant to anything. The idea is about art itself, like what I was getting at before. When you're writing something or you're a comedian, when you put art out there, you're doing it as much for yourself as for other people.
Yeah, so, I mean, even more for yourself probably than I think it depends. I think me personally, like
much as maybe.
Yeah, I would say it's at least 50-50, but I a big part of it, like I make it for myself. I make it because like I have fun making it. Like I have fun writing. I have fun acting in these things with my friends. Whereas I like the reason I got into comedy was because like I wanted to have a really fun life. Like I wanted to do what I thought was fun, and like I wanted to express myself. And in doing that, hopefully connect with others. But I know that there are a lot of artists out there, or like comedians, that like do it for others because they're like, this is the best way that I can help the world. And it's like, that's awesome. But like, and I think it's really cool. It's just like, and I think I think more people would say that than actually mean it. But I did it because I just like, I wanted to enjoy my life.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Okay, speaking about life enjoyment, and we're starting to wrap up here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, I could fucking murder a nice wrap after this.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm gonna
like
get
some
food,
like
yeah.
Latin food
so hungry.
with the jalapenos and the
I'm
cheese.
going on the Planters Nutmobile after this.
Is that a metaphor?
No. Planters has a giant peanut truck. Like, it looks like a giant peanut.
What?
Yeah. And
Where?
they drive it around the country.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Oh, for professional comedian activities?
No.
Oh,
No,
like
it's
eat
just
peanuts?
like they hire like some undergrads fresh out of college, and they spend an entire year driving the Planters Nutmobile across the country to different places.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah.
And it's like a marketing job or whatever.
More or less, yeah.
There's
It's a promotional thing.
Do you get nuts?
Holy shit, do you get nuts? You get so many nuts. So I've done this in New York and LA, and what I did that they said no one had done before, but every time I go on, I do it because it is the most fun I've ever had in the world. More fun than anything I've ever done, and it's not even close.
Okay,
You get on the Planters Nutmobile and you drive up different avenues of Manhattan, and you stick
Are you working or civilianing?
What do you mean?
Are you going for work or for fun?
Oh, I mean, like, it's for fun. Like, they don't pay me to be there. It's just the most fun thing.
But you're operating a motor vehicle, or
No, I'm just like in the truck with them, and I get in, and they give me bags of peanuts, and I like throw my head out the window, and I just start throwing the peanuts at people on the street. Yeah, dude, and people go crazy. They love the peanuts. They love the free peanuts. They're just like, we want the
This is awesome.
I know, dude. It's literally the most fun I've ever had in my life. This is my third and last time going on the Nutmobile because the class of people that are driving it right now that had initially reached out, this is one of their last weeks.
Oh, fuck, man. That would have been so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was this Harley Davidson internship or something or job called, it was the Find Your Freedom internship where you drove Harleys around the country.
Yeah, basically advertising.
Filmed it. And made like a travel vlog. This is a few years ago. That's cool. There's also this Jameson grad program. I was looking at it. I was gonna go to Jakarta and be a Jameson brand ambassador.
What's it? Oh, like the
company, whiskey.
Yeah, the whiskey.
Yeah. So they had an opening in Jakarta, and I like went through the whole interview process. And then I was not allowed to continue because I did not have a European passport. But like, I don't know. They like travel around the world, and they have all these hotshot undergrads like promote Jameson. So I like peanuts. Oh, fuck. I'm going on a date tonight, and the girl, she can't eat tree nuts. Are peanuts tree nuts?
Yes.
Because I was just craving peanuts. I have to brush my teeth before I see her. I mean, I maybe should do that anyway. But
I mean, not if you already did today. You know, you don't need to overkill.
Okay. Look, a lot of people complain bitterly about New York. But other people swear by it and stand by it. And you're wearing this hat. So like, and you moved here. You relocated yourself here as many other, you know, fresh out of college, you know, hottie toddy smartos do. So what is your take on New York? You like it? You hate it? Do you want to stay here? You think it's a good place to be for personal, professional, whatever?
I mean, for so many reasons, I love it. Like, one, my whole family's here. My sister's across not the hall. My sister lives in Stuytown. My cousin lives in Stuytown. They're like literally like 2 minutes walking from me.
Oh, cool.
My mom lives on the Upper East Side across the street from my older sister. My cousins live on the Upper West Side. Like, my whole family's here. I have a lot of friends here. Like, so for those reasons, I love it. But also, like, one, I don't have to drive. I fucking hate driving. I don't have to drive, which is awesome.
Don't live in LA.
Yeah. No, don't live in LA. Don't have to drive is big. Everything's so accessible. Like, if I'm like, oh, I'm hungry, I walk outside. I don't have to get into a car. Like, it's all here. But more than any of that, it's like, I feel like New York City is like the place to chase your dreams.
Yeah.
Because everybody that moves to New York, like, some people are born here, but like, everybody that moves to New York does it for a very specific reason. Nobody like falls into moving to New York, you know? Like, you come here because like there was something you really wanted to do. And maybe you learn in New York that wasn't what you wanted to do, but everyone comes here with some kind of goal in mind. Maybe the goal is just like, I want to be in New York, but that's a reason. And everybody comes here with a reason. It's not like, well, like, you know, I went to school in in North Carolina and I graduated, and so I'll just live in North Carolina. It's like people want to be here, and you can find a lot of people that also like if there's something that you want to do in New York, there are people already doing it for the most part, like so you can build a really nice community around yourself and the things you want to do. And so I love New York, and I would only ever leave if there was like an incredible opportunity, but I love it so much here.
That's heartening. I mean, for all the ups and downs and the bullshit, I think it is a place to chase one's dreams. Maybe I'll move back here again. I mean, I'm here. I don't know. I have been here for a few months. If I came for personal reasons, but New York is she's a cruel mistress sometimes, but she's a good mistress.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a place to really.
Everyone here has a dream. Everyone's chasing something.
I think that there's some goods and bads about like being like chase oriented, to being chase oriented.
Vincent
Chase oriented. Yeah. But it's, like, I think there's a lot to be said about just like being at peace with what you have, but I don't know. I'm very much someone that's like, I want to get after it. Like that makes me happy. That like makes me excited. Yeah.
Cool, man. A lot of things get me excited. Some of which we can't talk about on this podcast. All right. Final questions here. Favorite books, movies, and music.
Okay. So my favorite, I don't read, unfortunately. So I couldn't tell you a favorite book.
What about like a childhood book? If you give a mouse a cookie. I fucking love that book.
There's a book called 7 Times Down, 8 Times Up. And it's like a book about anxiety, basically. And I really like that. I read it when I needed a hand.
Cool.
And it made me feel good.
You can have mine if
I have your book, yes.
No,
yes.
My hand if you want.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And then my favorite movies, my Mount Rushmore of movies are Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, The Nice Guys. Such a good movie.
With Ryan Gosling.
Such a fun movie. Dude, that movie is fun.
And Russell Crowe, right? Yeah.
So Eternal Sunshine, The Nice Guys, Nightcrawler. Jake
Gyllenhaal. What a creeper. I mean, that's the idea. It's such a
movie. And then
like him.
The Menu.
Bro. Yeah. That shit's weird. I didn't see it.
Fine.
I read a review of
really
it.
Good. So those are my Mount Rushmore movies. And then songs. I think the most impactful songs for me have been
from Hebrew school.
No. My favorite songs have probably been or the favorite's different than impactful.
Okay,
impact for me is like Astro Band by Mount Joy, which is a song about like getting after your dreams, but like it's basically like in the song he's like explaining to his mom that he'll be okay. Like in the pursuit of his dreams, he's like, I'm going to be poor for however long, but like, that's okay. I'm okay with that. And I'm going to be okay. And I just want you to know that, but this is something I'm going to do. So that's a really important song to me. Adam's Song by Blink-182 is a really important song to me. Just because it was the first song where I heard and I was like, oh my God, I feel like that is like describes me. It felt like it was like speaking to me. And then Little Lion Man by Mumford & Sons.
Oh yeah.
Great song, but it's there's a line. It's literally the first line of the song. It's like, "Weep for yourself, my man. Weep, little lion man. You'll never be what is in your heart." And I just remember like hearing that and being like, will I ever be what's in my heart? Because I feel like a lot of us know what's in our heart, but we're literally like afraid to go be that person.
But you are doing that now.
Yeah,
you're not the little lion man.
Yeah. So, no, yeah, I don't know, but
you are being what's in your heart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the first time I heard it, I was like, oh wow.
Maybe I'm the little fucking lion man.
Yeah. So
is it lion like the animal or like lying?
Lion. Yeah.
Maybe like there's the subconscious at play because he is lying to himself.
Yeah, that's actually beautiful. I never thought about that. Little lion man. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, those are my favorite songs and movies and
sick
and book.
Okay. To conclude, this is just a normal everyday kill fuck marry. Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, and Mrs. Incredible.
Oh, I would make love to Miss Incredible. Miss Incredible.
Really? I mean, yeah. It's a tough.
In fact, it's not. In fact, it's never been easier. I would definitely make love to Mrs. Incredible. I would marry Elizabeth Warren. I would probably Hillary, but if she's watching this, I don't mean that.
Yeah.
You are scary.
Yes.
So yeah,
Cool.
that's all my that's my FMK.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for coming on to 27 Rouge.
Thanks for having me.